We'll need engineers to devise new sources of energy and businesses to make and sell them. We'll need workers to build the foundation for a clean energy economy. And we'll need all of our citizens to do our part to preserve God's creation for future generations, our forests and waterways, our croplands and snow-capped peaks.
So just how serious is President Obama in tackling climate change, and how effective will the policies be that he's expected to announce? Well, Benjamin Cole is from the Institute for Energy Research and joins us from Washington. And thank you very much indeed, Benjamin, for your time. Do you approve?
Good to be with you.
Yeah, well, lovely to have you. Do you approve of what he's going to say?
Probably not. The president is not only doing something right now that is very controversial here in the United States. There's some degree of question of whether or not it actually will be effective. We all know that if there is to be a global climate change solution, it needs to be a global solution. And at this point, there's no indication that some of the leading polluters around the world, starting with China, who consumes 3 times as much coal as the United States does and is looking to expand their coal-fired generating capacity, there's no indication that they're going to come to the table with any sort of agreement to address these issues. And so the president really is having a go-it-alone strategy right now, and what he's going to do is cripple the American economy in the process and put a lot of people out of work and cost a lot of people a lot more money on their energy bills.
Well, hang on. A lot of the rest of the world would say it's America that's been the go-it-alone in not doing enough on climate change.
Yeah, well, I think that's what the president is actually going to do. You know, he started his administration just over 4 years ago, and he was going to be a citizen of the world, and he wanted to sort of raise the standing of the United States, and maybe that's what he's playing to, but he's certainly not playing to the economic interest of the United States right now. We are in a fossil fuel renaissance right now with clean burning natural gas like we've never seen produced before. We're getting ready to lead the world in production of that clean, affordable fuel source. The president has made promises for the last 4 years in his first term that he wasn't going to regulate existing coal-fired power plants out of existence. He was just going to stop new ones from coming online. And now it turns that he is going to stop those existing coal-fired power plants. And Europe right now is learning some of the difficulties of the green policies that have been implemented in the past. Germany is backing away from some of the expensive subsidies and mandates that have bankrupted and crippled their economy. And at precisely the time that the rest of the world is starting to think twice about some of the economic consequences of a green agenda, the president's going to force it down the American people's throat. The exact things he couldn't get done through legislation,
sure,
he's going to do it through regulation with the stroke of a pen.
You don't overstate your case, do you, when you say it's going to cripple the U.S. economy? I've just looked at the latest figures today. Consumer confidence hasn't been as high for years.
Yeah, well, consumer confidence is certainly one of the metrics that we want to look at. I can tell you this. There's not a person out there who wants to pay more for electricity. There's not a person out there who, given our economy right now, is looking to spend a greater portion of their income on energy. And the president's agenda is actually going to raise the rates and raise the prices of energy. It's going to limit access to affordable energy sources and supplies, and he's going to expand the American taxpayer commitment for subsidies for renewable sources like wind and solar that aren't always on power, that don't provide power when the American people need it, and in the end cost a lot more money. And
just an hour ago we spoke to a senior fellow from the Director of Climate Strategy Center in Washington, who was saying that the American people are right behind this. They support the efforts that he is making to tackle climate change, and it is only kind of recidivists like you who are trying to stop it.
Well, recidivists like me, I've been called worse, I suppose. You know, the president tried to push these policies back in 2009 and 2010. He couldn't get his cap and trade, his energy program, through a Democratic-controlled House and a filibuster-proof Senate. He, in fact, lost the midterm elections in this country, largely in part because of the failure of those energy policies, and people recognized the damage that they would do. He couldn't get Democrats to pass it. He can't get these things through Congress. He can't get them through the Senate. Harry Reid, the Senate Majority Leader, will not bring these things up because Harry Reid knows how unpopular they are. And I can tell you this, there's a number of very vulnerable Democrats right now in the United States Senate in the next election cycle that we have who are not too happy that the president's going to do this because they realize the consequence it's going to have for them with the voting public.
Benjamin Cole, really, really good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed for being with us here on Global and expressing that viewpoint so clearly. Thanks very much indeed.